Hi there, Smart Drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you tonight about highway driving and holiday driving in the summertime with lots of traffic on the roadways and keeping you safe, keeping you sane, and keeping you together with your significant other while you're traveling together this summer to your destination hot spot. And for those of you who did not read the show notes in the description there, today is actually my birthday. That's how much I love you. So, yes, Dave, the stream has started, and we are on live here and talking to you today about holiday driving and talking to you about highway driving. And I just recently had some experience with this because Friday morning early, like 3:30 in the morning, I drove down to Tsawwassen, and Tsawwassen is where the ferry terminal is in Vancouver here in British Columbia, and I took the ferry across to Vancouver Island because, as some of you may or may not know, I have a rental property over there and went over to see my tenants and do a few things over there, and had a drive back this morning. I drove back from Chilliwack, British Columbia, or as I like to call it, Chilliwack, which always gives me a laugh. But stayed there overnight and then drove back, and then started to see the number of trailers and RVs and camper units on the roadway, and as well the out-of-province license plates and out-of-state license plates. You're going to see those for those who are driving down in the States. So just to answer a few comments here. Penny's here. Dave is here. Dave is very excited. Dave wanted me to start early. But fortunately, I always take a minute just before I get started to make sure I have everything. And, you know, Spider-Man is here. We got to have Spider-Man. So I had to go get my cup. And yes, Dave, it is my birthday today. Yes, I got older, and now they're beginning to ask me if I want the seniors discounts at stores, which is, you know, I'm getting a little used to that. But anyway, here we go. Jesse's here. That is awesome. Jesse has passed his road test. Congratulations. Ibukun, thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Yes, Dave, you're refreshed. Amber Wamber. Hi there. Yes, and that's really great. So all of that's good. Mad Dog is here. Jen is here. Thank you so much, Jen. And I got back safely from the coast, and we're going to talk about Ryan is here. Ryan is here from Ontario. Yes, that's great. Everybody can say happy birthday. Raymond is here. Matt, how old am I? I'm believe it or not, I'm 52 today. 52. Yes. And Corey's here, Bricks for Wheels. For those of you who are new to Smart Drive Test, Corey is the moderator here and is really good at weeding out the spam on the channel. I think you know you made it on YouTube when you start getting spammed on your live feeds and your comments and whatnot. And as well, Corey also works for me and does closed captions on the videos and does a really awesome job on that. So I'd like to thank Corey as well. Thanks so much, Joey, for the birthday wishes here. And yes, so again, tonight we're going to talk about highway driving, and I'm going to quickly move over to the PowerPoint presentation and get that going here. So just bear with me one sec. I should really set this up before I get going. I don't know why I don't. So just bear with me. There we go. Okay. So talking about road trips and talking about driving, and I didn't put this slide in here, but for those of you who don't know me, I am Rick August. I do have a PhD. I have a PhD in legal history, and for those of you who don't know, legal history is the study of policing, courts, and prisons. And I'll just fix this here because it's not exactly what I want. There we go. Yes, so legal history is the study of courts, prisons, and policing, and my expertise is in policing, oddly enough, as it relates to traffic. And I looked at the transition between horse-drawn traffic and motor traffic at the beginning of the 20th century in Melbourne, Australia. And really great. You know, university and school is about teaching you how to learn, because I think to have a really good life and have a long life, you need to be a lifelong learner, rather. So that's who I am. I became a driving instructor in 1997. Most of my driving instruction career has been about commercial vehicles, trucks and buses. I drove trucks through most of the 90s into the United States, out of Canada. And 2000, I moved to Australia, lived there for 5 years, and I drove bus for Greyhound in Australia as well. I drove for Vic Road. So I have a lot of driving experience. I have a lot of driving instruction experience. I got my first driving instruction ticket in Ontario as an airbrake instructor. That's also another one of my specialties. I moved to Australia, became a driving instructor in Australia, though I never worked as a driving instructor in Australia per se, but I was the driver trainer at Greyhound very quickly. I picked up that job there. And then I became a driving instructor here in British Columbia as well. So that's me in a nutshell. And so tonight, as I said, we're talking about road trips and driving, and it's summertime. This is the video I got up this week, and I would like to thank Inland Kenworth here in Vernon for providing a vehicle to make that video on right turns. I wasn't pulling a trailer at the time, I was just bobtailing, and as you can see, I'm a bit rusty in the big truck. I was having a little bit of challenges there finding gears. And Corey might be able to find the link for you there and put that up, but that's the first video. If you just go to the homepage on the YouTube channel, you'll see this video on how to turn right in a big truck. And it's actually quite busy here in Vernon because a lot of the Albertans, people from Alberta, the province of Alberta, which is the next province east of us, come here in the summertime for their vacation. So it's starting to get really busy here in Vernon with our population going to double here very quickly. So road trips and highway driving in the summertime. Excuse me. A lot of us are going to go with our families, and we're going to travel to see other family members, and we're going to go on our vacations and holidays and go to destination hotspots and those types of things. And one of the things you want to do, especially if your kids are a bit older, like older than 5 or 6, is you really want to try and involve them as much as possible in the planning of the trip. And for many of us, as you know, it's going to be, it can be really adventurous. With a bit of planning, it can be less stressful than sometimes it could be. So what I suggest is have a bit of planning in place and look at Google Maps and figure out where you're going to stop and those types of things. And one of the strategies that you put in place that I advocate is stopping every couple of hours if you're going to drive for long distances. And then that way the kids can get out and they can run around a playground or whatnot. If you got a ball in the car, like a soccer ball or something like that, you can get out and get a bit of exercise, and everybody can walk around and start moving and getting the blood pumping and those types of things. And the reason we recommend 2 hours is that studies have shown, and you can figure this out on highways, when you drive 2 hours, you begin to see the concrete barriers separating highway traffic on the roadway. And the reason for that is because safety experts know that drivers start to fall asleep or get fatigued at that point. So be aware of your fatigue and know that every couple of hours you need to get out of the vehicle and start to move around to keep yourself alert and whatnot. So spend some time on Google Maps, spend some time with your GPS unit before you take off, and plan rest stops so kids can get out and they can run around the playground and those types of things. And as I sort of preempted myself there, everybody needs a rest at a couple of hours. And if with a little planning, you're not just stopping in a rest area or someplace else that's not very interesting for the kids and whatnot, especially if you are traveling with kids, and for yourself as well. There are so many interesting places, small towns and historic nooks and those types of places, with just a little bit of planning on Google along your route there. And I know that we kind of get out on the freeway and get in the highway, we kind of get in that mode, I want to get there, I want to get there. But with a little planning, it can be a lot more fun, and you can find some really interesting things and explore the route along the way. Now, when you're getting ready to go and you're packing and you're planning, think about the activities that the kids are going to have and how you're going to pack the vehicle. You're going to have access to food and drinks while you're driving, because of course we're all going to eat and drink while we're driving. I know that people will say to you, oh, it's distracted driving and this and that, but the reality is that we're all going to do it. So if you have sandwiches and bags and they're close by the driver and those types of things, you're not reaching into the back seat, people not climbing over seats and they're not unbuckled and those types of things, then everybody's going to be more comfortable while they're driving and those types of things as well. Determine who's going to navigate and who's going to drive, and Corey will get the video for you here on navigation and route planning, and spend a bit of time on navigation and route planning. And the two adults, if there are two adults in the vehicle, have a discussion about where you're going, and then each of you is on the same page about where your rest stops are going to be, where you're going to stop and see, sightseeing along the way, where you're going to stop for meals if you're not going to take food with you, which direction you're going to go and those types of things, and what mile markers you're looking for and whatnot. All of that is in the route planning and navigation video. And then again, have activities for the children. I mean, one of the things that my kids did on the last trip when we went down to Washington State to see Jen and do the video down there, We had a Robert Munch book, and for those of you who don't know, Robert Munch is a famous kids author and Make Up Mess, and my kids must have read it about 10 times in the back seat, and then they would listen to it on the audio tape. So you can go to the public library and get these books, and they have an audio, a DVD or a disc with them, and you can put the disc in the player and they can listen along with the book, and it'll ding every time they need to turn the page and those types of things, and that keeps kids engaged as well. The other thing that kept my kids engaged was looking at my phone and looking at the GPS and seeing where we were on the map and those types of things. So kids can get really quite involved. And then, of course, games. If you just Google that, tons of games on the internet and those types of things. So driving, you're going to be driving at highway speeds on interstates and highways and freeways and those types of things. So you're going to be driving at higher speeds. So one of the components of driving that is critical when you're driving at higher speeds is to keep your following distance. Minimum 3 seconds, 4 seconds, I would say. Look farther down the road, get the big picture. Have a look at this video here. It'll show you how to measure your following distance in time. And that is one of the things. If you can drive in the spaces between the clusters of vehicles, you're going to be a lot safer on the roadway and highway. And also get some idea of the characteristic of other vehicles on the roadway. If you've got a big camper van that's trying to go up the hill, know that it's going to go slow, and know that if it's multi-lane, you're going to need to get over to the other lane and get out and around that vehicle. And also, again, be looking farther down the road. I was coming back today on the Coquihalla Highway just below the summit there, and there was a tractor-trailer unit broken down. I don't know why the driver didn't get it off on the road, but there was a motorcycle police officer there with the lights on, and that was, I think, the only reason that I saw it, and had to get out and around. So know that as well, that you need to look farther down the road so you can anticipate what other people are doing and whatnot. And have a look at this video here on freeways and traffic predictions and predicting road user behavior, and especially at on-ramps and off-ramps. Have a look as you're driving on the interstate and the highway, look farther down the road, look for the overpasses, look for the on and off ramps, and that's where you're going to find out that there's going to be other vehicles merging onto the freeway, and you can move over, and that way you can maintain your average speed, which is what you want to do. You're going to go farther and faster with a higher average speed over the course of the day, as opposed to slowing down and speeding up and slowing down and speeding up all day. So know that as well. Look for commercial way stations and those types of things, because know that there's going to be big trucks coming out of those and whatnot, and all of that's going to help you out to keep your vehicle going. Stay in the right-hand lane unless you're out passing, and keep an eye on the mirrors and look for those speeders coming up behind you that are just, you know, driving 10 or 20 miles an hour over the speed limit, or 10 or 30 kilometers an hour over the speed limit, so that you can get over and get out of their way. Otherwise, you might get rear-ended, so know that as well. Recreational vehicles. As I said, I was coming back from the coast today, and the recreational vehicles are out, the trailers, the big RV units and whatnot, and know that these vehicles are not going to travel at the posted speed limits most of the time. Most of the time they're going to be going slower, and there's a bit of this cartoon here as well about that. Summertime, look for roof racks, look for packed vehicles, look for out-of-state or out-of-province plates. A lot of times these people are going to be lost, and they're not going to be knowing where they're going, and because of being lost or navigating, expect erratic behavior. Give them more space. If you are passing, get out and pass quickly. That way it's going to keep you safe and whatnot on the roadway. So stay away from camper vans and trailers and those types of things. Whenever you're changing lanes, always shoulder check. Always shoulder check. Don't rely on your mirrors. Make sure you shoulder check. That way you're going to check and see if there's vehicles in your blind spot, especially in the summertime now with motorcycles coming out. It is motorcycle season. You want to check and make sure that there are motorcycles there. And on the note of motorcycles, look twice during when you're moving through an intersection in case there's a motorcycle that's trying to turn left, because you know, or you're turning left. Make sure you see the motorcycle, and there's good reason for that. Research has shown that the faster something is traveling, the harder time we have of judging how fast that vehicle is traveling, and the smaller it is, bicycles and motorcycles, it's harder for us to see that and discern how fast it's traveling. So know that there are biological limitations to seeing bicycles and motorcycles. Now, passing, you're going to have to pass on a freeway, multi-lane road. It's not very difficult, but if you're on a 2-lane highway, it's going to be more difficult. And this video that I did here on this was, you know, vehicles that are passing, and then 5 minutes down the road there's a passing lane. Know that, you know, there are going to be passing lanes, and oftentimes if you're following a truck, as here in the image, The passing lanes oftentimes are on hills, so you can get out and around these bigger vehicles, the RV units, the pickup trucks pulling trailers, tractor trailer units, and buses and whatnot. So just sometimes you're just going to have to be patient and wait until you come up to a passing lane, and then you're going to have to pass. So sometimes it's safer to wait 5 minutes for the passing lane to come up than it is to actually, do the high risk maneuver of passing on a 2-lane highway. Now, one other thing, roadside assistance. If you don't have BCA already and you're not mechanically inclined, get roadside assistance. That way you can get towed. It's only about $75 or $80 a year to get roadside assistance for your vehicle. And let me tell you, last week the Honda broke down again because the distributor went in it and had to be replaced. I mean, the vehicle's got 200,000 miles on it, so it's not unexpected that it did break down. But on the highway, it broke down out on the highway, and there is not very many places to actually get over and get off the road when your vehicle breaks down. So know that. And as well, unless it is an absolute emergency, point number 2 here, do not get out of the vehicle. Do not stop on the side of the roadway unless it is an absolute emergency. If you have to go to the bathroom, wait until you get up the road and you can actually get off in some place into a rest area or whatnot and go to the toilet. Don't stop on the side of the road to let the kids go pee and those types of things. You might even think about getting a bucket in the car if your kid needs to go pee every 5 minutes, because it is not safe in a car on the side of the road. It is a dangerous place to be, so please don't stop there. As well, one other point about keeping a cell phone charger in your vehicle. That way your cell phone's charged. If your vehicle does break down in the summertime, you can call the Automobile Association. They can come out and they can administer assistance, or they can get you towed, or those types of things, so know that as well. And the other thing is put the hood up on your vehicle. It's a universal symbol that your vehicle is broken down and that you need roadside assistance. If you have a flat tire and those types of things, again, BCA, AAA, CAA, whichever organization it is, can all come out and administer roadside assistance. And again, unless it is an absolute emergency, do not pull over on the side of a highway or an interstate or a freeway or a motorway. It is simply not safe. Okay, and then finally, the other thing that will reduce fatigue and reduce distraction while you're driving is putting your vehicle on cruise control and using cruise control. And I highly, highly recommend cruise control. Not only is it better fuel economy, but as well, like I said, it reduces distracted driving because you're not monitoring your speed all the time. And when you reduce distracted driving, you have more attention on the task of driving. You can start looking at other traffic, look farther down the road, figure out where you're going, and keep a higher average speed, and less distraction, less fatigue, and you're going to stay more alert, and it's just going to be easier for you to pilot the vehicle up and down the highway. So I really advocate cruise control. I'm a big advocate of it, actually. All right, so good luck on your road test. Good luck on your highway trips and your holiday trips, and keep us informed of where you go and what you do and all the fun and adventures that you have this summer while you're out driving. And we're back here, and we'll answer some questions now if anybody has questions. Thanks for that. All right, so let's see. Lots of stuff going on here. What would I like for my birthday? I'm not sure what I want for my birthday. Let me think about that for a sec. I'll get back to that. Okay. Okay. Ikra, parallel parking. Have a look at the playlist on parallel parking. Corey will get that up for you on the playlist on parallel parking, and that'll help you out. Jim, take smoke breaks. Yes, that's another one as well, although I don't recommend smoking. Tommy's here. Hey Tommy, how's it going? What are you requiring? Cheyenne, driving tests. So all driving tests require it doesn't matter where it is in the world, doesn't matter what kind of road test it is, whether it's a car or a commercial vehicle, all road tests consist of the same 4 basic components: speed management, space management, observation, and communication. So speed management, you got to drive either the posted speed limit or the flow of traffic, whichever is less. Space management, don't get near other road users, don't get near other fixed objects. Make sure you stop the vehicle at the correct position before the stop line, before the crosswalk line, and if those 2 things don't exist in a residential area, then where the 2 roads meet. Stop in traffic so that you can see the tires of the vehicle in front of you making clear contact with the pavement. Observation, you have to observe. So you have to look far down the road, you have to scan, you have to look at your instrument panel, you have to look at the wing mirrors, the center mirror, and you have to have a scanning pattern set up as well. You have to shoulder check for every turn. Anytime you move the vehicle laterally, lane changes, you have to shoulder check. Before you do a slow speed maneuver backing into a space or parallel parking or 2-point reverse turn, you have to do a 360-degree scan. When you're reversing for observation, you have to look out the back window. So you have to turn your body slightly and look out the back window while the vehicle is in reverse. And then communicating with other traffic, you communicate with other traffic via the lights, the horn, hand gestures, appropriate hand gestures to other traffic. Don't tell them they're number one on a road test. You won't be successful. Position of the vehicle on the roadway, and lights, horns, and eye contact. Get eye contact with the other drivers for communicating with other drivers. So those are the basic components of a road test. And again, last week we had some confusion about mock road tests. I've been saying this for almost 2 years now. and I realized last week when somebody asked me the question, I realized that a lot of smart drivers didn't understand what a mock road test is. It's just a practice test with a driving instructor. Driving instructors teach people how to drive every day to pass a road test. So go and book a lesson with a driving instructor. Go out with them and do a mock road test. They can identify any weaknesses in your driving abilities that you're going to need to strengthen to be successful on a road test. And Sam at Rookie Auto Driving School there in Bronx in New York was saying it's only $20 there. Up here in Canada, it's a little bit more. You're probably going to pay $50 to $100 for a mock road test. But again, it's going to ensure that you are ready to pass your road test and that you are in fact going to pass your road test. So book a mock road test. Hozu, I apologize if I didn't say that right. How not to drive too cautiously. Drive the speed limit. Get the vehicle up to speed as quickly as possible. And, you know, it's just practice. The more practice you get driving the vehicle, the more comfortable with it, and you're going to get going. Asked on the Facebook, would it be possible, Rick, to answer if it's possible during the live feed? Yeah, absolutely, Mad Dog. If you have any questions, just ask me. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Jim, you are allowed to adjust the vehicle when you're trying to park, and you're usually allowed one adjustment. So if you're parallel parking and you need to pull up, you're allowed one pull up before they start deducting points on that. Thank you very much, Felicia, for the birthday wishes. You're most welcome. Okay, who else here? No, I just kind of screamed forward there. Driving lessons by Big Mac Sam. That is Sam from Rookie Auto Driving School there in the Bronx. Yes, it's my birthday, Sam. Thank you so much. Intake fuel pump goes, there's only so much hill to go down before you can stop. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Matt, yes, it does indeed cut down on fatigue. Fat bottle. Yes, James, that would sounds good. Lucky, thank you so much. Joey, yes, anytime that you're moving the vehicle laterally, anytime that you're turning, anytime that you're changing lanes or moving into a turn lane, you have to shoulder check left and right. And yes, I know that sometimes you shouldn't shoulder check to the left, but there's a video here on shoulder checking to the left and why we do that, and Corey should be able to find that for you, and that'll explain why we shoulder check to the left. And that's because of bicycles and other road users that might be in your blind spot. So always check to the left. Okay, good question, Dave, about getting pulled over by police. If you get pulled over by police, you don't have to pull over to the side of the road, and actually police will thank you if you drive down the road. And I'm not talking like miles and miles of driving down the road, but you know, if you're in town driving down to the next fuel station or parking lot or something like that, and you can get off the road, it's going to be much safer for you and the police officer. Or if you can just drive down the road to the next exit off the highway or freeway, it's going to be much, much safer for the police, and it's going to be much safer for you. So if you can do that, then that's a good thing to do. Michael Johnson. Big difference between a Ford F350 Super Duty and a Saturn. Yes, there is a big difference. you'll probably find the biggest difference is the turning radius, that the Ford barely turns at all as compared to the Saturn. So yes, it's my birthday. It is my birthday. Can I take a Class A CDL test in a vehicle other than an 18-wheeler? Yes, you can, Roy. You can get a dump truck, a tandem axle dump truck with a trailer on it, so long as the trailer has air brakes. That's your other type of vehicle. Figure out where you are. Have a look at the driver's manual. The CDL driver's manual will explain the configuration for a Class 1 or a Class A vehicle. And like I said, as long as, oftentimes if the trailer has air brakes, if both the truck and the trailer have air brakes, then it's considered a Class 1 or a Class A vehicle for the purposes of a road test. Okay. Yes, that's right, James. What lane I turn into when I'm U-turning. Joey, you want to try and turn into the closest lane that you can. Most of the time when you do a U-turn, you're going to require 3 lanes of traffic. So the lane that you're in when you're turning, and you're going to need 2 lanes on the other side to come around and do a U-turn. Most vehicles will not turn sharper than that, so know that for the purposes of the road testing as well. Corey should be able to find the video here for you on how to do U-turns. Okay. $20. Where'd he go? Where'd it go? Mad Dog, you sent your question in a message. I don't think I saw that, Mad Dog. Send it to me in an email, rick@smartdrivetest, and I'll be sure to get back to you on that, because I do apologize that I missed that. Okay. Yes, $20 for a mock road test. Is that right, Sam, that it's $20? I think you said $20 last week. Was that right for a mock road test? Because the road tests in New York are a bit different, so the mock road test, I think would only be 15 or 20 minutes. Just let me know, Sam, if that'd be great. Scott, is it hard to get a CDL job with a criminal record? Scott, it would probably depend on what your criminal record is, what it contains. Like, so for example, if it was an assault charge when you were a teenager and you're now 40, it's not likely that that's going to have an impact on you getting a job. If it's something recent, maybe, you know, like I said, it's going to be up to the discretion of the company that's going to hire you. Maybe, maybe not. And, you know, if you're in the country that you're in, whether you're in the United States or you're in Canada, again, that would be just a matter of calling around to trucking companies and asking them, explaining what your criminal record is about and seeing what they say. That would be the best thing to do. Dude, how do I keep my speed at the speed limit? Practice, practice, practice is how you do that. And the other thing I would suggest, dude, there is, Corey will put the video up for you on speed control and how to practice speed control so that you can keep the vehicle at a constant speed. Now, the other skill and technique that you need to put in place for the purposes of maintaining a constant speed is scanning patterns. So your scanning pattern, every 8 to 12 seconds, you're going to be moving your eyes from down the road, looking at the instrument panel, looking in the wing mirrors and those types of things. And that scanning pattern is going to help you to maintain your speed, because you're going to be monitoring your speedometer on a regular basis, and that way you're going to be making adjustments to your speed all of the time. Okay. There it is, and Corey's got that up. Thanks so much, Corey. Karen, have I celebrated my... No, not really. I think my celebration for my birthday is going to get postponed 1 week. I did go and buy some Dairy Queen cupcakes, and my kids are coming over here after the live feed, so we'll sing happy birthday and eat cupcakes. They'll be really happy about that. So, what's my favorite cake? I think chocolate cheesecake, I think, is one of my favorites. I think that's one of my favorites for sure. Sarah, June. Sarah, yeah, if you're practicing and you're doing a lesson a week, yeah, I think you're going to be more than prepared for your road test in June. You'll get lots of practice in, and you get lots of feedback from driving instructor and those types of things, so you have lots of times to fix things and whatnot. Excellent, Ryan. That's great that you're getting that being able to hold the car in the lane, because I know that can be a bit frustrating when it kind of deviates and wanders on you and those types of things. Where did that go? Okay, so yes, big Sam was saying there, yes, that's correct. So it's $20 for a mock road test in New York City at Rookie Auto Driving School. And Sam, how long is that mock road test that you do for $20? What's the duration of that? Yeah, it's crazy cheap. Crazy cheap. So why would you not, like, I just can't, you spend $20, do a mock road test, and you're going to be absolutely certain that you're going to pass your road test first time. You're not going to fail because you know exactly what skills and abilities you need to improve to be able to pass your road test. Because a driving instructor, like I said, that's what driving instructors do. They help students, or they teach students how to pass a road test. That's what they do. Okay, James, I got my Class B CDL in a single axle truck. How do you move to a Class A? Okay, so James, what you need to do is you need to go in and write a learner's for an A license, and you're going to need to get access to a vehicle, and as well, excuse me, you're going to need to get your air brake ticket as well. Do you, James, already have an air brake ticket? Because for Class 1 or Class A license, you're going to have to get an air brake ticket as well, and you're going to have to get access to a unit, a tractor trailer unit, or a unit. I lost my train of thought. So with truck and trailer, that's what I was going to say. Truck and trailer, and the trailer will have to have air brakes is what you're going to need there. Okay, let's see. Who else? Michael, in Michigan, the mock test is the same price as the road test. And how much is that, Michael, for in Michigan there? Dave, yes, there is a way that you can clear your criminal record. You can get a pardon, and there are companies and organizations. Just type it into Google, and those will come up, and you can get a pardon on your criminal record, especially if it's like over a decade and those types of things. I'm not exactly sure of all of the details, but just Google it, have a look at it, and figure out some of the processes, and you can get a pardon on your criminal record. Okay, Joey. When the speed limit says 25 when kids are present, does that mean during school hours, even when kids are in class and not present on the street, or just when I see kids walking around? Joey, when you see kids on the roadway and along the roadway, that's the only time that you drive 25 miles per hour for the purposes of a road test or any other time. If the sign specifically says when children are present, it's not when children are in school. It's when children are along the roadway. And Joey... Corey will find the video for you on school signs, and I go over the many different types of school signs and explain each one of them, and that's one of the ones that I explain. And actually those are beginning to lose favor because they're confusing to drivers, so it's not just you, but drivers in general. We used to have one up here on Pottery Road outside one of the elementary schools, and they actually took it out and they just put in a straight school zone. And Sam might be able to talk to that as well, as to whether those 25 miles an hour when children are present, and whether there's any of those down where he's teaching and whatnot. Okay. Do a video on using dash cams. Matt, what are you looking for in terms of using dash cams? There is a video here on the dash cam that I use, the Vox dash cam, and it's actually quite good. And it shows you how to use it on the computer as well. And actually, I should do an update of that because I do it differently now in terms of how I use the dash cam and whatnot. But what are some of the information that you would like to see in a video on dash cams, Matt? Because I would be interested in doing that for you. Okay, Idris, how many miles per hour can I drive in a residential area? Okay, in a residential, Idris, 30 miles an hour or 50 kilometers an hour unless otherwise posted. So if there's no speed limit signs in an urban area, not just a residential area, it's going to be 50 kilometers an hour. Now, if there's high density of other vehicles and those types of things, then you want to be able to drive a little bit slower. But for the most part, it's 30 miles an hour, 50 kilometers an hour. Okay. And Sam says the mock road test down there is 10 to 15 minutes. And believe me, Sam would agree with me on this, that both of us know that if we get you in the vehicle for 5 minutes, after 5 minutes, we know whether you can drive or not. And within 10 to 15 minutes, we're going to be able to give you the information that is going to ensure that you pass your road test. If you practice those skills and improve those skills, then you are going to be successful on your road test. So again, go to a driving school, book a mock road test or a practice driving test. Tell them you're going to take your road test and you want somebody to give you some feedback on your driving ability for the purposes of passing a road test, and you will be successful. It's really, really good. Okay, James, and 20 miles an hour. Oregon. Okay, residential. Now, James, just clarify that for me in terms of 20 miles an hour, because that's different than most of the driving manuals. Most of the driving manuals inside an urban area. Now, this could be different in terms of residential. That could be something different. But inside most urban areas, and Sam may be able to say something about this, it's 30 miles an hour or 50 kilometers an hour. But as you said, there may be some residential areas that are 20 miles an hour. Now, is that 20 miles an hour, is that going to be posted? Are there going to be signs that tell you it's 20 miles an hour? Is that something that you just have to know? Okay. James, air and tank endorsement. Yes, you're going to need an air brake endorsement, and you're going to need a tanker endorsement if you plan on driving a tanker. Yes, very cheap for New York City. Michael Johnson in Michigan there at $60 for a mock road test. Sterling, I'm nervous driving for the first time by myself. Always drove with my parents, and tomorrow's my first day of driving alone. Yes, Sterling, have a look. Corey will get the video for you on top 10 tips for new drivers and things that you should consider when driving by yourself. And, you know, Sterling, I know that other people are going to be going past you, but stick to the speed limit for the first little while until you get comfortable with it, and maintain the space around your vehicle. You know, signal early, communicate with other traffic, and you're going to be fine, okay? You're going to be really good. It's lots of fun. And if you're not comfortable in busier roads, higher density traffic, and those types of things, just plan your routes in less traveled areas, you know, cut through residential areas and those types of things, and then that way you can get more comfortable with the vehicle by yourself, because it is a bit daunting to make that transition to driving by yourself, because you've been used to being in the vehicle with other people who are giving you directions and helping you out and driving those types of things, and now you're by yourself. So, you know, just take your time and graduate to those more dense areas. William, I'm 16. Behind the wheel test is in 24 days. I hope it'll pass. Can unlock my freedom. I'm pretty confident in my driving besides parking perpendicular on both sides. Yep. Well, William, you're going to do great. Just a bit more practice, and it sounds like you're going to do awesome. Jim, is it true that we are only required to look out the back window when reversing straight back? For example, parallel park. My driving instructor told me this. Was wondering what your opinion is. No, I wouldn't go with that, Jim. I would say that for if you're backing up more than one vehicle length, I would back up a vehicle length. I would stop the vehicle, do a 360-degree scan, look back out the window and back up another vehicle length, another 360-degree scan, and then back up again. And it doesn't take that long to do a 360-degree scan. Just stop the vehicle, quick check, and then continue to back up another vehicle length. But I wouldn't back up. Like, if you're going to back up 6 vehicle lengths, I wouldn't just back straight up 6 vehicle lengths. Okay, so know that. All right. Thank you so much, Sarah, for the birthday wishes. That's really great. And Sarah got her license here just about 10 days ago. Wasn't it, Sarah, that you were successful in getting your license? That's great. Okay, Dave. Oh, wait. Lost it. Michael. There we go. Okay. Video road sites that you'll encounter on the road. Yeah, I really should, because that drive down through Vancouver in the mountains is really pretty. So, Gabriella, thank you so much. That's awesome. Okay, Karen. Okay, so Sam says that where he lives in the Bronx, 25 miles an hour when children present. I haven't seen them in New Jersey, though. That's where I'm from. Okay, so they're not common in New Jersey and in New York State there, and in the city as well. There you go, James. Yes, you can tell tons about a person's driving ability on their first right turn. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Gabriella, rushing with 100. Okay, Gabriella, if they're doing 150, you just want to slow down and get in behind them. Okay, Gabriella, what you need to do when you're merging is as you're coming out, so you've got the on-ramp and then you've got the acceleration lane. As you're coming out on the on-ramp, that's when you want to be checking the traffic on the roadway, and you want to be adjusting your speed to match the gap that you're looking for out there. That's the best thing that you want to do. And the other thing I would suggest is have a look at the video on merging mania here that I put up, and it's just a whole bunch of cars merging that I pulled off the dash cam, and that will show you how to merge and how to use the on-ramp in combination with the acceleration lane to get out onto the roadway. But if cars are going like crazy, like I said, you just want to move in behind them. Okay. Anthony, I'm trying to get my CDL. When I finish, can I go local instead of on the road? Absolutely, Anthony. That's the great thing about being a CDL driver, is there's tons and tons of opportunity and different jobs that you can get to be a CDL driver. So you can definitely work local, and there's lots of different opportunity, different jobs that you can do. Driving cement trucks, driving buses if you want to drive a bus, local freight, P&D work, pick up and drop. So there's definitely lots of work local. William, no, when you're backing up, you want one hand on the steering wheel, you want your other hand on the back seat. So whatever side of the vehicle you're sitting on, yes, you definitely want your just one hand on the wheel when you're reversing, and the other hand on the back so you can look out the back of the truck. Okay, Sarah, no, I just want to make sure. Okay, James, I have my Class B CDL. My dad drove for 40, and I have driven a triple trailer truck. I'm looking to drive in the oil fields in Texas, and of course need a Class A for paperwork purposes. There you go. Yeah, James, I think you're going to do fine. If your dad is driven, it certainly gives you an advantage in terms of knowing what you're going to do and those types of things. Okay, is it better to stay in the right lane? So Sarah's asking if it's better to stay in the right lane when driving and deal with merging traffic, or move over to the lane and then move back when there's a gap. So Sarah, if you're on 2 lanes, if there's just 2 lanes going in one direction, you want to be in the right-hand lane. If there's 3 lanes, you want to be in the center lane. The center lane is your better lane. And again, yes, you want to move over to the other lane if there's vehicles merging out onto the roadway, if you can. Sometimes it's just a matter of just taking your foot off the fuel pedal, and the vehicle will slow down 3 or 4 kilometers. That's often just enough to let them get out and get onto the roadway. Okay? Okay. Thank you so much, James. That's awesome. That's really great. Very helpful, Gabriella. That's great. I'm glad we could help out. Joey, when I'm backing up, if I want to turn my head to a different direction to see the other way, do I have to stop the car first? Can I quickly just turn my head while I'm still moving? No, Joey, if you're going to change your viewpoint of your head instead of looking out the back window, I highly recommend that you stop the vehicle. Okay, so if you're parallel parking or you're backing up more than a vehicle length, stop the vehicle momentarily, adjust your view, and then look out the back window again, and then continue on with what you're doing. James, everyone's going to hit the like button. Yes, we could have a thumbs up. We could have a power thumbs up. Everybody hit the like button. And for those of you watching on the replay as well, if you like what you see here, consider subscribing, and as well hit that thumbs up button. And all of that helps us out and gets the message out and helps people to be successful on their road test and being successful in driving and being safe. Yes. Ibukun, what do you think about self-taught driver and a trained one? Ibukun, if you can do it on your own, and then what I suggest, if you're going to do it on your own, yeah, that's perfectly acceptable. And then what I suggest you is just go and do a mock road test, because again, I come back to the point that driving to pass a road test is very different than learning how to drive, and there's certain skills and abilities that you have to put in place to be successful on a road test. And when I teach, when I do videos to teach you how to pass a road test, I have to change into put my driving instructor hat on, and I have to drive the car very differently than what I do normally. There's some things that are left over from 20 or 30 years ago, and Sam would probably agree with me on some of these things. For example, the 2 hands on the steering wheel at 9 and 3, that is left over from the days when we didn't have power steering in vehicles. I mean, most vehicles now, you can put one finger in the steering wheel and you can move it around. Well, that just wasn't true in the days of prior to power steering on these vehicles. And the other reason they do it is it's just part of you keeping control and maintaining control. But after you get your license, you're only going to drive with one hand on the steering wheel. So keeping two hands on the steering wheel, that's a bit of a challenge, even for me, when I'm not teaching how to pass a road test. William, how about backing up in a normal parking space in a parking lot? Even then, William, if the vehicle's in motion, you want to be looking out the back window. If you're pausing to change your viewpoint or to check around you to make sure that there aren't the driving environment hasn't changed, make sure you stop the vehicle, look around, and then look out the back window again. Okay, it doesn't matter where you are. Dave, do you know anywhere where people can ride motorcycles over 100 miles an hour, because they've been doing it in my neighborhood? Just the racetrack, Dave. Other than that, I don't know any place. Okay, there's the playlist on reversing. That's great. Mad Dog, going old school. Excellent. Great to hear him. Such a special day. I would never pass my test without your lessons. You're a great person. I'm so lucky. I'm learning from the best. Karen, thank you so much. That's absolutely lovely. And Leticia, last night I was on the ferry. I caught the 9 p.m. ferry from Schwartz Bay, which is Victoria, back to Vancouver, which is Tawasin. And, you know, I was really tired because I got up early. I drove down. I worked on my rental property all day, and then I got on the ferry and I came back, and I tried to sleep in the car for a while, and that didn't work. So I went for a walk around the deck, and Leticia came up, and she's from Richmond, BC, in Vancouver there, one of the suburbs of Vancouver, the greater Vancouver area. And she was so excited that she met me, and she just introduced herself, and it was really inspiring for me that she just come up to me and started talking to me and told me how grateful she was that I helped her to pass her road test. And she just, you know, she said to me, you know, you helped me get my license. And it was, you know, it's a great feeling, because sometimes, as people say, it can be a little bit, you know, a bit lonely on this side of the camera. And when you actually meet people that you've helped with your videos, it gives you a really great feeling. So I want to thank Leticia for coming up and talking to me and telling me how wonderful that was that she passed a road test and that I had a part in her success. So I'm really appreciative of that. All right. So Mad Dog's taking his air brakes tomorrow. That's great. Jim, on the test in Toronto, do we get points deducted? No, Jim, they're not gonna they're not gonna deduct points for somebody else honking at you. You don't. No, they're not gonna do that. Okay. Do I have a video on Gabriella? Yes, I actually have a poll playlist, and I think if you just scroll down through the comments there, Corey just put that up there for us as well. Okay. Okay. Okay, so Mad Dog, you got somebody who's going to give lessons. That's great. Yeah. And actually, there's a really good channel here on a driving instructor out of Texas who talks about motorcycles and talks about that kind of thing. So, really good. Yeah, there, Sam, I'm more relaxed with one hand, for sure. I rarely drive with two hands. I mean, unless, you know, I'm in a high-risk area, then I've got two hands on the steering wheel. Okay, William. No, William, once you get your license, you know, take a bit of time, celebrate, and then you can definitely drive on your own. And, you know, just drive in less dense areas and those types of things until you become more and more comfortable. And definitely have a look at the video on top 10 tips for new drivers. And I think I'm going to revisit that and try and give you some more information about after you get your license and things that you should watch out for, and just, you know, making that transition to driving by yourself. Okay. Yes, Airbrakes is a technical course. And for those of you, there is an airbrake course on my website, and I think this week it's on special, so go over there and look at that course and consider taking that course. That will really help you out in terms of being successful on your road test. And the course has information for both the CDL in the States, doesn't matter what state you're in, and any province in Canada. That test will help you out, okay? Yes, thank you so much, James. S. James there. McRider, yes, a driving instructor, motorcycle driving instructor out of Texas. Really, really good information. I really respect him for the information that he's done. Good stuff. James Phelps, what do I think about self-driving semis? I don't think they're coming anytime soon, despite what other people would like to think. No. Yes, excellent channel. Okay, Raymond, thanks a lot for all the very informative videos. Rick, recommended your channel to a bunch of my friends. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Raymond. Greatly appreciated. Really appreciated. Thank you for your sentiment. Awesome. Dave, there you go. Okay, just one sec here. And I'll show you this. I just got to open up the app here. So the app that you want, so what I have, Dave, Dave is asking me on the video that I put up on Saturday on driving the big truck, I had a speedometer overlay on the video, and I recently purchased a GoPro 5 Black, and GoPro 5 Black has GPS in it, and on the GPS, so you use the GoPro, make sure that the GPS is turned on. You download a program called GoPro Quick, which is the editing program for GoPro. And I'll just transition over here. One sec. There we go. Bear with me here, just changing the screen. All right, so this is the Quick Pro editor here. You can see it here, get that off there. And basically what you do is you double click on the video that you want the speedometer on, and this will come up here. So this is the video, and then you click on this little speedometer adjust gauges here, and then you have quite a number of options here of what you can put on. So you can put the GoPro logo on, info cluster, speed tracker, GPS path. So I'll just turn a couple of these on and then you can see this. G-force gauge, and then you go save. And then you can see here it's got the speed tracker on here. It's got the elevation tracker on here, and you can adjust all of these as well to the size that you want. So I just move them around to where I want them on the video. And then you just, once you get all that done, then you click the create a clip, put this on here, and then once this comes up here, then you can just hit save and it will render the clip for you. And that's all there is to it. And I'll just shut that off. Please and thank you. There we go. Okay, transition back here. So that's how you do it. So that's how you put the speedometer on the clip for the GPS. If you got a GoPro 5, it has GPS. Make sure it's turned on, and then you can put that up on the video. All right, Sarah, thank you. Got my G2 Friday. May the 4th be with you. There you go. That's hilarious. That's awesome, Sarah. Yeah, I was trying to explain that to my son because I went to pick them up at school on the 4th of May, and all the kids were dressed up as Star Wars characters, and my son wanted to be C-3PO, and I said, no, you can't be C-3PO. You have to be Han Solo. Well, the kids now don't really know who Han Solo was because he was the first, the original Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. And I was trying to explain to him how cool Han Solo was, and he didn't really buy it. So, so I'm gonna have to work on him a little bit. Okay, on the test, the yellow one there is a place where the examiner can see how many times you took the test so far. Why is this? Is it important for him or her? Where are you taking your test, Gabriella, that they're going to know the number of times that you took the test? James, I wouldn't like the thought of 90,000 pounds being controlled by a computer on snow and ice. Yeah, James, I tend to agree with you, or more. I mean, here in Canada, in British Columbia, they love their Super Bs, the 2 trailers on the back of a semi truck. And now they're the 2 turnpike doubles where they're pulling 2 53-foot trailers. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do that, okay? That I found, I will check your videos before my G in July. We're happy with this YouTube. Thanks and be blessed. Thank you so much, Gabriella. That's really lovely. Thanks so much. JFSA 380, I see U-Hauls of similar size passing the scales, but our trucks I run for Penske of similar size get pulled in for weigh and to inspection. JFSA 380, you know why that is? It's because Penske is under a commercial license and has to be licensed with the DOT and with the authorities here in Canada, and U-Haul is not. U-Haul vehicles are all under a certain weight because they haul furniture, and because they haul furniture and they're not considered a commercial license, they don't have to go into the scales. That's why. Okay, so you're in Toronto, Gabriella, and what was the question you asked me? Just look again here on the test. In Toronto, in London, I don't really know why they need to know the number of times you've taken the test, but do know as well, Gabriella, that if you take another road test, you're going to have a different driving examiner. It's unlikely that you're going to have the same driving examiner for more than one test. Most of the time, they try and get another driving examiner to take you out on a road test. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Bricks. Do you think autonomous features could help with driver fatigue? Not fully self-driving for recent future. Or might the idea of it set up? No, Corey. There is technology already on vehicles that helps people with driver fatigue, and I've talked to people that there's space management technology. There's sensors in the bumpers that will determine how far you are from another vehicle, another road user, or a fixed object, and they will apply the brakes. They will bring you to a stop. There is also some movement advances in technology in terms of nodding heads and eyes blinking and those types of things to try and keep you awake. But I think probably one of the most, one of the simplest inventions that helps with fatigue is actually rumble strips on the side of the freeway. You hit one of those rumble strips when you're nodding off, and you're definitely going to be waking up. Okay, Ryan, did you get the information to the lady that wanted to? Yes, I did. Okay, I passed that on to her. Thank you so much, Ryan. Gabrielle, I have my G2 in Oshawa. Really great. Dave, generally, it's not going to be a dirt bike per se. It's going to be what's called an enduro, and an enduro is basically a dirt bike that has it's fitted with a speedometer, and it's fitted with lights and signals, and they look like dirt bikes, but they're not dirt bikes. Okay. James, have you seen the Australian road trains? Those are crazy. Yes, I have, James. But at one and the same time, James, I was going over the connector between Kelowna and Merritt here in British Columbia, and there was a truck coming up the hill, and the truck was pulling two 53-foot trailers. So you're talking about a truck that's 120 feet long. There you go. Yes. Thank you, Tommy, so much for the birthday wishes. That's really great. Okay. G2 and Peterborough, the VP and Lawrence drive test is infamous for failing folks. Well, Jim, rather, sorry. All you have to do is take away their right to fail you. You do what you need to do, okay? Private rentals with logs, fuel taxes, and manifestos, are we exempt? Okay, JFS 380. Are you talking about a U-Haul truck 380? Because if you're talking about a U-Haul, you don't have to keep any of that because you're just driving, okay? Thanks, Tommy. Yes, that's true. Yeah. Stove Nasty, thank you so much for that. That's really great. The examiners do not know how many times you're taking it. So, however, in Manitoba, you must take 2 hours of schooling from an accredited drive school after 4 fails. Yeah, and I think that's fair. I think that's fair that you should have to take driving lessons after you fail a road test 4 times. Play some song. That's great. William, when you have to turn but vehicles are blocking the way, can you explain both in the situation? When you can't... Okay, William, I'm not understanding that question. Can you rephrase that for me? Michael, thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Okay, good night, Michael. Thank you so much for showing up and contributing. Thanks, 380. Ride a horse. That's funny. Oh, okay. 380, if you're just moving a house with a Penske rental, no, you don't have to go in those types of things. Now, where that might get you into trouble, 380, is if you have a tandem axle truck, then you would probably need to go into the scale, because tandem axle is considered a commercial vehicle. If it's just a single axle on the rear of the vehicle, then you're probably going to be okay. They're not going to come after you. Okay, there we go. A horse. Okay, Sarah, when you turn right on a slip road, should I stop for a red light or just slow down and check? Sarah, if there's a yield sign, then you just have to slow down and check and give the right of way to all other vehicles. You don't actually have to come to a full stop. There we go. Okay, so I think we're on the hour here. We're gonna wind this up here. And if you're watching on the replay, consider subscribing. Hit that thumbs up button before you say goodnight, everybody. Oh, Prem. Air brake test, vision test. Is there any more tests other than the road test? Air brake test, vision test. No, Prem, I don't think so. Where are you taking your CDL license there, Prem? Trees or other obstacles in the way blocking your vision on a turn, like if you have to turn right, but there's a big tree blocking your vision to check to the left. Oh, okay, William, I know what you're talking about. So when you're when you come up to a stop sign, stop at the correct position. If you can't see, then move forward, treat it as a yield, and then proceed when you can see and the way is clear. Okay? Have a look at the stop sign video. Corey may be able to get that up for you, and you can have a look at that, and that'll explain that to you. All right. Somewhere too, but didn't know its effect. For the stop line, then slowly creep up. Yes. So you come to a complete stop, William, at the correct place for a stop signed intersection, and then after that, treat it as a yield. Move up until you can see, and then go. Jim, if you're near the curb, you let them proceed. If you're not near the curb, then you continue. But most of the time, for the purposes of three-point turns on a road test, they're going to do it in a very quiet area. They're going to do it either in a cul-de-sac, or they're going to do it in a controlled area where there isn't other traffic, or they're going to do it on a roadway where there's minimal traffic. Okay? Prem, you're in Alberta. No, I think you're good to go. I think you've got all the steps that you need to do. Yes, and people do not stop for signs. Log, thank you. You are most welcome. All right, so we're going to wrap it up there. Congratulations to everybody who has passed a road test in the last week, and good luck on a road test if you've got one coming up. If you have any questions at all, leave me a comment down in the comment section there. I'll be more than happy to get to you and help you out with that and help you be successful on your road test. Thank you very much for your time, for showing up tonight. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. Congratulations to those who passed the road test. Good luck on your road test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a good night. Bye now.